let me propose an idea here. Suppose that everybody who were to take a life is not only guilty of taking a life, but is also guilty of shortening the entire lifespan of humanity. Because if you consider, if you take a life that is capable of making, say, I don't know, if a man were to have 500 wives and had 2 kids with each of them, he could easily have 1,000 children in his life. And even more, he's as many times as he can do his thing, he can have a child, technically. Unless he's instinct deficient. But if that's the case, and that shortens the lifespan of humanity, that you have less people, you're probably wondering how does it? So I'll just cut a long story short. The more well, it's like the cheetah bottleneck. Cheetahs ran into some instance where their population was cut down to a very small region. Therefore, there's only a few different cheetahs genetically. Essentially, you can give a skin graft to any cheetah from another cheetah anywhere, and it'll work because they're all pretty much the same cheetah genetically. So that's going to shorten the lifespan of the cheetah. Eventually, it's just going to die out. The disease will take them all out because none of them will have an immunity to it. So eventually you have to understand that once genes become so similar over time, a long period of time, because they will, then eventually it's like inbreeding no matter what you do. Then things start to break down. You get extra fingers and all other kinds of things that come from such practices. But now, how about this one? Racial diversity. What if you do your own people a great disservice if you say you don't think intermarriage is good? I think there's probably a formula, like half of a people's population should be strictly with the population, and the other half of the population should be with other people from other races. The reason for this is, if you want to extend the history or the future of mankind, you need to make sure you have the genetic diversity as long as you can get it. Because if you consider, once upon a time, there was only a couple men, or one man and one woman on the earth. So all the genetic diversity that we have now must have been in that one man. Otherwise, all these different things wouldn't have come from the one man that can't be reproduced. Either way you look at it, unless you want to say that, humans evolved into humans in all different kinds of places. But we know we're all the same kind of human, essentially. So let's just say that everybody came from one man and one woman. The gene code got so diverse and spread out that now it's at a max point. So when it starts to implode on itself or come back in on itself, if there's not genetic diversity enough, then it won't last very long. So if you were to follow that prescribed method, half of your people stick with only your people, and the other half of your people go out to be with other people. Now that the gene is still mostly young, you can get healthy mixtures of diverse DNA rather than always running into the same missing genes from nucleotides breaking down after generations, which is what makes incest so bad. Because a mother and a father who have a son and a daughter, their son and their daughter are going to be essentially missing the same genes and having the same strength in genes. So if you decide that your whole population should be only with your own population, when it comes time, maybe 10,000 years, 20,000 years, 100,000 years down the road, when your people's population is at the point where now you're getting sick and nobody's got a antibody to it, but other people do from other places, you're going to want to breed in, but they're not going to want your gene anymore. So everybody should be doing that, what I said already, to extend the life of humanity. Otherwise, you're committing a crime against everybody and shortening the lifespan. Consider one more issue. What if you were to eliminate one race altogether? if there were 5 basic races, and with a hope of living 10 million years, you've reduced it to 8.